Cross our fingers. Let's see if we can get live again. Back-ish. For your sake, we only have about 20 minutes left, so I'm not going to fuss too much. I could have left 20 minutes early, but you know me. I bang my head on the wall for fun, right? Yes. Well, how do we put this? Figuratively, not actually, just in case anybody actually cared to know that. I don't really bang my head on the wall. That's just not safe. So, yeah, I haven't the foggiest why that keeps happening. As I said, my computer is really, really sick. I was just about to say that. When everything crashed really badly. I don't even know if anybody's listening, which is fine, you know? Some days, you do what you gotta do. But yeah, if I didn't have other things to do this weekend in terms of major family birthdays and so on, I would probably be asking Fantastic Shock Foxes help to completely and utterly flatten and rebuild. I don't think I have any drive death stuff. I mean, I don't think I was in the same position as poor Max Money. But if I don't smarten up, I might be, because I'm wondering if some of my links are broken, as in symbolic linking in devices. There shouldn't be, but you never know. You never know. Things could be more sick than I imagined. And I can imagine pretty badly. I used to work tech support for an internet service provider that also did a Geekbench type of assistance. And so we've had our fair share of like right down to the wires things. Only once have we had to do something that was a little more sketchy. Where one gentleman was, thankfully one of my bosses, not me, was dealing with the replacement of an actual laptop screen on a MacBook, which is not something that people normally do or normally request. I don't even know why we were doing this service for this person. But they had to source the piece and then open the thing up and muck around with the wiring, and yeah. I can do stuff from scratch. I don't have a problem with, say, breadboards and so forth. I can do soldering, you know, so those sorts of things don't faze me. But mucking around with monitors and things where you're in there enough that you could actually, you know, ruin connections, yeah, not on my list of fun things to do. So anyway, I don't think my computer's that sick, but it's definitely behaving really weirdly. And I don't know where the sound is right now. Sounds okay. But I did reboot that app too. I admit I did not reboot the entire computer because I figured by the time I only had 20 minutes left, what was the point? And we're going to have ads in too. So, you know, fail all around. But that said, you can cry over spilt milk, or you can go get a mop. And today I'm opting for a mop. It doesn't necessarily solve the problem. I don't have the milk back in the container or anything like that, but it's better than nothing. Technologically, this week has been one of those it doesn't rain but it pours weeks. And I'm wondering if some of the mic problems that I'm experiencing could be somehow related to the gremlins that are causing the rest of this issue. Who knows? I guess at the center I should pause and check to see if I actually got all of these rows filled. That would be sensible now that I think about it. Close enough. Close enough. And I can probably pull out most of these powers because I don't need the grid. The Quartz has enough grid. I could have done white concrete for the same no lines feature. Yeah, I'm not going to second guess myself on that. could, but I'm not going to.
Ads are starting. Delen will continue the conversation after the ads are over. Thank you for
That's what we're
supporting
at
the
today,
stream.
Oswin, bring it on. Ads seem to be par for the course. So we do have the ads turned down quite a ways, meaning that we shouldn't have as many as we could otherwise. No promises on that, but I'm not letting Twitch currently monitor itself. I set it to a manual setting, but it turns out the manual setting I used to have it on no longer exists, which is part of why it was behaving oddly at the Twitch end. And we're now back. So we're going to have a lot of this space filled in the next 15 minutes. I am watching the timers very carefully to make sure I don't go too far over time on you guys, because particularly after a technical headache, but I wanted, my headspace says cut and run, but the other part of me says, oh, don't let that stop you, right? And so the question is, which am I going to listen to today? I have to really decide what goes in there. I did not mine enough sand to feel comfortable just heading up to the top layers of this thing and dropping it full of sand. While that technique was very, very useful when taking over the mansion, I don't believe it's something that's warranted here. And it's a bit of a waste of sand. Let's sleep. Why not? Why not? Eventually I'll have to deal with all this torch spam. That's one of those, like, just before I sign off for the season type of projects. The flip side, I guess, I was going to say bright side, but that's just such a bad pun, it's not worth it. On the bright side, I did say that. Mojang, thankfully, by the fact that they've changed it so that the open air mobs, all, or at least everyone that I'm aware of, now only spawn if there's no light. It's not a certain amount or less, it's just a no light situation, barring the ones that just don't care how much light you have. But the no light ones, or sorry, because of that situation, we can use half as many torches. So I mean, it's bad. But I'm looking out here going, well, it could have been worse. And truthfully, I'm actually using twice as many torches as I need anyways, because I just go light up roughly the middle section of whatever the darkness is, which is not what we're supposed to do, so to speak. I mean, if you've got a light level of 15, then truthfully, you should only be able to, or need to put a torch every, like, 15. Two pieces to that is the taxi math, which I hate. And the second, or the other piece to that is that I can't be bothered to actually go to 0, count 7 in, or 8 in, I guess, and then place a torch. Like, I just, when it gets to 0, so I've got this I can use, yes, it's one of my cheaty things, and I can put it in number mode, and it'll tell me what the current block light level is. And that number mode, when it hits 0, I usually just throw down a torch, like down there. It does show red when it's like that. I don't think I have it set to configure below a certain level. It's orange as in might, because right now we're in a binary mode, so I don't need to worry about that. So in other words, it is or it isn't enough light. 0 or 1 or above is enough to make most mobs not exist, not spawn in. Go. So because it's binary like that, I just don't bother with the orange color. So it's green as in most mobs won't spawn, or it's red as in you're gonna get mobs. That's basically all she uses. Go all the way down to the other side. 10 more minutes for your edification. I was looking at, during the crash, I was looking at how I could avoid running the browser app that I have on in the background. And I realized I can't actually avoid that, so I might need to look at which browsers would be lighter on my system and make a different one default. That's another piece I want to work on here. But I mean, here's the other stupid thing. I just didn't pay attention to which apps are causing problems. Come on. Get down there, right? There we go. Let's see. This one, mods, show me. Change the location on this. I'm going to move things. Do options, HUD, location. There we go. Yes, only. That. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to move this so that you guys can see it. I normally hide it behind my head, but let's drop it for now over by the deaths thing. It won't be permanently over there. Oops. Oh, blind. Am I having problems getting to move? And the font is tiny. Make it 1.5. Because we don't need it like that all the time. I'm gonna watch it again. So back in game, now you can see that we've got like 50 frames a second. Oh, that's huge. That's not what I want. Escape. Options. Oops. Done. Mods. Yes. I want HUD size. Back down to 0. 1. Done. 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 Back in. Okay, so we've got like 55 frames a second. And we're jumping up to 68, etc. In free cam, 72. Okay. When I'm back in my character, instead of the frame, 122. Down to 51. You know, so we're getting better frame rates, whereas normally I see like 12. So I don't know what I just shut down that made that change. I'm wondering if it was my browser. But what's interesting about that, though, is that you can't necessarily, in this row, for column, and then we jump down. 3 I can do without effort. There we go. But normally I just have one window open, and you can't deal with the browser if you don't have in English, back it up. So I'm using OBS, the Open Broadcaster software. I wouldn't say everybody and their dog does, but it's one of the more popular ones. And anytime you want a web page feed, truthfully, it's actually spinning up, an instance, not a fully fledged one, but an instance of your default browser in your computer. And it uses that as the engine to get the source from. Which is different than me spinning it up as a separate thing, window and all, and then capturing that window. But, I mean, to some extent, you could think of it the same way. It's not how it's run, but you could think of it the same way. So, if I'm using a browser that's incredibly not optimized, then that will have a bigger drain on the system than if I'm using one that is. Now, I thought that Arc was fine, but it may not be. Or Arc's visual interface, when I have the full browser, could be a problem. I don't know. But in any case, we've got a significant increase in frame rate after I've shut something down. I don't know what I shut down. It could also be that OBS was sick and maybe rebooting OBS was fixing it. I haven't the foggiest. So these are the types of puzzles I deal with on a daily basis. Okay, so I have finished this part. Let's go down the central tower. I'm going to keep the horizontal for now. 3, 6, 9, 12, all that. Now, here's the weird part. We've got numbers on the odds and not on the evens. No, numbers, sorry. Block counts on the odds. That allows us a central point for the purposes of hands. That does pose a problem for putting up banners. Because banners for the numbers are, well, A, they don't have the stupid order between them. Right? Little dumb thing here. So you're going to notice that's missing. B, of course, banners don't have this texture in the background. But also, by being on the evens, when we end up with 6 isn't bad because it can be centralized, but 12 is going to be a little off. I don't know how I'm going to fit the other ones around the outside, but hey, I gotta figure it out. And I have extra quartz as expected, but not as much as I thought I would. So I guess that's good news. The other thing I looked at while we were rebooting things is this gap that we've got. On a 5 thick unit, which is what we've just switched to, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's only one more layer. Which reminds me of why I'd gone to the 7 thick, but on the other hand, I looked at it as a 7 again, and it just does not look right. So let's take one of these out. Jump all the way up here. Is this the third one? Yes. Is there a 4th one? Yes. We'll deal with that later. That's not on the outside. Doesn't interrupt the white section, so let's deal with this one as much as it does. And we're probably going to have it cause the center section to fall through here. Actually, maybe not, because it's only one thing, one block high. So I can take this out here. Wanted to leave that, so I'm going to do this. One down, that one out. That'll work. I gotta go one more down for that. Out this way. Put in a support block. Put in that one. There we go. Okay, problem solved. Now it's just a matter of closing it over my head. Whoa, whoops. I guess this part doesn't really matter. Okay. Fiddly time. I'm gonna move the bed once we get this done. Getting up and looking at the back of the clock. I'm kind of done with this side, so that's it. Let's move the bed. But even so, we're still seeing easily in the high. Okay, as I say that, the frame rate drops. What the heck? If I'm not moving much, I get ridiculously stupid numbers of frames, which, as you could imagine, was surprising the heck out of me when I was playing without OBS running in the background. So, yeah, I was getting in the 500 frame rates. I'm just so used to playing in the 30 to 60 range that I didn't really notice initially. I mean, things felt smooth, but because the game is blocky, it's never going to be less pixelated, right? Maybe it was that I wasn't actually getting motion sick? I don't know. 2 minutes. 2 minutes, everybody, which means that we need to start looking out for a raid. I will do that right at the top of the hour because that way I can because that way we can give whoever we're raiding to that mild minute at the top of the hour that some of them find useful for being able to get their own stream going well if they haven't started precisely on time. I do not expect the same courtesy of anyone else. It's just a habit I've developed. My assumption is that most other people are on time. That could be a mistaken assumption, given my own behavior, but that's where I'm at. Okay, so this one, this one, this one, this one. I think this is the one we got. Is it? Is it? Is it? Is this the one? Maybe, kinda, sorta. Yeah, this is the one. This. We're just hitting the top of the hour. Perfect. So let's support this one and then get out of here, or at least get out of your hair. Our hair. Somebody's hair? Not mine. And at some point, I'll remember enough about the play to be able to tell you the rest of the story. There was probably something else I had to say about it, but if you're ever getting the opportunity to see Murder on the Links, it's a fun little bit of fluff type of play. And it's not even that it has to be humorous. Like there are other versions of the play that are not cast light, and there are times where it's done more seriously, so people aren't doing a send up of the character's accent or the way certain other actors have played that character. There is that to be said as well. And this one wasn't billed as a comedy as such. They did a lot of it relatively, like, it's light, but relatively seriously. It's just they had opportunities to chill people out. 2, 3. Is that everybody? Yes. We're out. We are out. That's the end. This is the center. Alright. This. Let's do a quick fly. Actually, yeah, that was better. To the roof. Busy. That looks like a dinner plate. That's a little disappointing. Oh well. The closer we get to a project that's simple and complete, the better. Originally I was going to do this in actual gold. A bit of a flex, but the community gold farm was in use for another player's project. And since that player was the one who built the farm, I said, go for it. Enjoy. So we're going to end it here. As you guys are well aware, I have a whole lot of troubleshooting to do. At least things aren't quite as busted as they were 25 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. Yeah, at least they're not as busted as they were then. But we have a lot of problems to solve. And I've been muted so long, it's not funny. We are going to raid out... Whoa! That's my... Shut up, please. That's my monitor, not the mixer. Okay? It swapped tabs on me. Lovely. I'm going to raid out before the composure well drains, and we're going to give somebody else the benefit of your wonderful company. I want to say thank you to everybody that came by. Thank you to those that stuck it out and put things on in the background. I will be back, I think. Yeah, I'm supposed to be back tomorrow. The plan is that I will be back tomorrow. Given that we have parent-teacher interviews tomorrow, they're outside my stream window, and which means I'll just have to cut off quite tightly. However, I'm going to try and continue with the regular plan. It's a bit of a no-school day for the kids, so it's also a little chaotic in that respect. But that's tomorrow. I'll worry about tomorrow. And for today, let's find ourselves a great place to raid to. We have... Well, I think just for a little bit of variety and a bit less quiet, we're going to have go over to Groova. He's been up for an hour and 3/4, so might not be up for too much longer. Yeah, I think that's probably good. I don't remember off the top of my head how long Zach the Dragon would stick around, or we'd head over there. So if anyone has any preferences of somewhere else they'd rather go, feel free to drop that in chat. But otherwise, I think we're going to head ourselves out to Groova. And that's one where it's nice and chill. So if you've already just been lurking and working, then we can continue that vibe. Let's get that going. Do my magic buttons work? Maybe. Ooh, well, they might. Press.
Mischief managed.
Mischief managed. I must change that. It manages me more often than anything else. So thank you, everybody, once again. Thank you very much to Dried Sheets for bringing your raiders over. Always a pleasure. Also, thank you very much to Hornchen for the new follow, and to Hornchen and Jay for the clue spending. In the meantime, we had a great moderation team from Jay, Zerk who dropped by, Fantastic Sherlock Fox as available, and conversation from them, as well as Bobreen, Springer Shadow, Lass, Dried Sheets, Hornchen, Gargoyle 3333, Hygiene or lack of hygiene, and we're headed off to Groovaguy. So in the meantime, have yourselves a wonderful day. I will see you back here for some more Minecraft. We'll get the face of this clock going. And until then, bye-bye for now. See you all soon.
Transfer complete.